think growing up in a female family, what they taught me more so was to always say yes, ma'am, yes, sir. Always opening the doors for anyone, not just your date or girlfriend or wife. But even that, even after, there's a lot of marriage couples I know that they said tend to forget to open the door, the car door for them, or things like that. And I think for the younger generation, we need to start learning self-respect. Everyone should own a suit. Everyone should should know how to tie a tie, how to buff their shoes, because it's important that we don't lose certain values from what we call the old school. Old school values, they definitely have some things that still could help us in this present day. More so respecting others, always saying thank you, yes sir, no ma'am, or yes ma'am. I say, even when people say don't call me ma'am, I'm not old, you always let them know, listen, it's just a sign of respect that I was taught. And it goes to show you really be surprised how people be shocked when you say yes ma'am, thank you ma'am, yes sir, no sir, opening doors. You'll get a great response. And what this society is missing is the want to better ourselves as before. Recently, Steve Jobs passed away, and this guy in high school, whatever you want to call it, in our areas and around America, before these, a lot of kids used to laugh at what they called geeks and things like that, people who were nerds, or so to speak. Steve Jobs made it where geeks and nerds are cool. These guys that created Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, the guys that found Twitter, Google. These guys created what transformed the world. And they were looked upon as geeks or nerds. And it's not labeling people. It's just that they saw there was a need for something in this world, and they created it. Or they saw someone else try to create something, but they knew more of it, so they bettered it. So we have to kind of want to better ourselves, even if that means reading a book. I think the No Child Left Behind Act started for a good cause, but I think we need to enhance it a lot more. Kids need to understand that being educated is what's going to create you to be successful and wealthy down the road. Everything is not about money, so to speak, but it's not easy struggling financially. Again, that doesn't mean that if you're educated, you'll become a millionaire. Again, but what I found, I forgot the statistics, but what I heard was that in unemployment, I think 75 to 80% of everyone that's unemployed doesn't have a college degree. I think it must be higher or something like that. That goes to show you how important it is to have a college degree. Now, I did drop out of college to pursue my goals and dreams because something told me, my intuition. But that doesn't speak for the fact that I don't need to go back to school, which I will be going back to school. And again, we could talk about Steve Jobs. He dropped out of college and never went back. And he's not the only person that dropped out of college that became a person that changed the world. But you can't just think everyone is going to be that. You can't just think that you yourself is going to drop out of college and be the next person. Being educated will help you become that person. So it doesn't hurt to sacrifice 4 years of your life to become better in certain aspects of what's going on in this world. Technology, definitely. Healthcare is going to be a huge thing in the future. Of course, like we just spoke about technology. But we need to want to better ourselves. So that, I think that America needs that. And it starts at home. We talk about the government, we talk about our politicians, but most importantly, starts and our teachers as well. But it starts at home. We have to tell our kids to shut off the TV at a certain time. They should be reading a book in summer. In summertime is when we need to get them to be doing more things about school than being fun, than doing fun things. You can combine both of them. There's a lot of great programs out there where you can combine being fun and being educated and put them together. But it starts at home. It's the same thing for people that are saying that they're broke and got no jobs. You can blame what's going on in the economy, but really what we need to do is stop being lazy, get off our behinds, and go out there and look for something or create something. There's a lot of people that have great ideas. Be more creative. Again, you don't think that you're going to be the next Steve Jobs, and when I say that, I mean don't think that you drop out of school to do that, but you could be the next Steve Jobs, you could be the next Bill Gates, or the Warren Buffett, or Steve Stout in the music industry. You could be a lot of people. What you want to do is be better than them, but be more creative. And I think that our parents need to push our kids to be more creative. Let them do things that they want to do creatively. Let them be free. In the workforce, what's missing is what I talk about the most, and that's leadership. True, genuine leadership. We have people who are given positions that take their titles to the head. In every job, there's certain people that do not have a so-called title, and they're the ones that people respect the most, more than their own boss. And that goes to show you that you could be a leader without a title. Everyone should want to be a leader. Everyone should be a leader. Everyone can't be a leader. And a lot of times, I think in what we're seeing more now in America, and even in my company, is that we're seeing a lot of people who are managers, not leaders. And then at the end result is that who's hurting the most are the employees, and in my case, my residents, our customers. So it starts at the top. If you leaders treat their managers good, treat their employees good, it's going to trickle down to treating the customers good. And that, at the end, is going to help you in your bottom line with your company. So you can't really just be thinking that, well, it's going to cost $500 to send this person to a seminar, or it's going to cost this much money for a retreat that that one of my employees asked for. Think about it as your return of investment. You're going to get a return of investment when you let your employees do what they want to do in the sense of education, be more creative. You're going to get it back. A lot of ideas come from the people at the front line. So we need more leaders in this day and age, more now than ever. We need more leaders in our communities. We need more leaders down on the streets. We need people to get out there and tell these young kids, you know what? Don't be running around. Don't always curse. Pick your pants up. Yeah, pick your pants up. Learn how to represent yourself. You yourself, think of it yourself as a business. You have to represent yourself no matter where you go. Even when I'm not working, I'm still representing myself. So even when I go to stores, I always help. You always have to think you're a business yourself. Once you start realizing how valuable you are as a business, there's no stopping you. But you have to look at yourself first. And I always tell people, in order to be a leader, you have to lead yourself first. And that's what a lot of things, what's missing in the workforce is managers given positions, and they're not being humble about it, or not realizing the true power that they have. They have the power to change people's lives, not to hurt them or embarrass them or to abuse their powers. They have power to change lives. I started multiple businesses at my age. Some failed, some prosper. But the difference was that at least I tried it. And as leaders, we have to try things, take risk. So that's the most important thing for any entrepreneur, is that they take risk. And then that helps them get to the next step of expanding their business. That's why I started my blog. It's www.joshua, A as in Apple, Rivera, RIVERA.wordpress.com. And you can follow me on Facebook at Joshua A. Rivera, Facebook, and on Twitter you can follow me at Joshua A. Rivera. And I started my blog for the simple fact to help people, not just in work places, but also in our lives, our daily lives. So I'm creating this life coach business where I'll be able to help people and be their life coach. What we need a lot more now is being more positive, being more optimistic. And there was a study, and I read it on CNN, that people who are optimistic in their life live a lot longer than people who are negative. So that goes to show you how important it is to be optimistic, even in this downturn economy. But you yourself could change it. And my blog not only talks about management tips, leadership tips, it also talks about us as individuals. And I'm more focused on my generation and what we're going to have in our plate once the older generation moves on. So it's a lot of stuff we have to clean up from our own parents and grandparents that they left behind. And I think now is the time for us to step into politics, step into the leadership roles, and start demanding and start fighting for what we believe in. Because it'll be too late 20 years from now, and then we're left with no Social Security. So my next blog, and what I'm really focused on writing now next, is kind of a mini book. and it's going to be called Generation Y, WHY with a question mark, because as you know, Generation Y is the next generation after the older generation, and that's really goes to my age group and my people, and we need to start asking the question why for anything. If someone tells you to do something, you should ask why. You want to know what's the reason what they're doing. If the politician or government tell we're going to pass these laws, ask why. We're seeing in Wall Street now all the protesters, they're asking questions. We need to be more about why and not just go with it because people have ties and suits or they drive Ferrari or they live in the suburbs. It doesn't mean they're looking out for our well-being. So that really more focuses on the Generation Y. I'm going to expand on that a lot more.
From New York to LA.